Hello and welcome! Today I will be doing a scribble challenge where I turn a random scribble into a creature. Let's get into it. So if you don't know what a scribble challenge is, it's where you take a completely random scribble, most likely made by you, although it doesn't have to be, and turn it into some sort of sensible drawing. Could be a character or animal, or anything really, but my intent is to create a creature design. The purpose of this challenge is to stretch your creativity by finding meaning in a bunch of scribbles. It's also a great activity if you have no idea what to draw. I kind of went into this thing with no solid plan. At first I thought I was going to do just one scribble, and whatever I create is what I have to work with. But I then decided instead I'd do 3 scribbles, work them each a little bit to get a basic concept, and then decide between the 3 which one I like the best, and then take that concept into a full design. So right now I'm trying to feel out my first scribble into a concept. I think the concept for this one came the easiest out of the 3. I pretty much quickly saw feet in the 2 swoops on the bottom left, a tail, and the main structure as a long, lanky body. So obviously the head of this thing was at the right, but I wasn't sure what to make of it at first. There were 2 lumps. If one was a head, what was the other? Well, 2 heads, of course. And this might make more sense when I say I was watching the new Fallout show while drawing this. Once I saw the 2 heads, it all came together. We've got a mutated weasel creature on our hands. The rest of this one is just me trying to remember how to draw weasel features without looking at a reference. I think I did an okay job. Weasels are just long rodents after all. And I guess this guy has levitation powers also? Or maybe swimming? Either way, he's kind of just being a floaty guy. I kind of like the levitation powers though. Clearly he's been mutated to have 2 heads, so why not superpowers also? Okay, on to my next scribble. This one was definitely the hardest for me to find the concept in. Usually when I do a scribble challenge, I look for the head of the creature first. But I couldn't really find a head in this one. Not at first, at least. I cut out any footage where I wasn't doing anything, but I definitely just sat and stared at the scribble for several minutes at least, trying to figure out what to do with it. Finally, though, I found the head in the weird structure on the left side. It kind of looked like a moose head, with big antlers on either side, and I guess a weird horn also. Don't ask me to explain it. And the rest of the scribble was kind of just the body. As for the swoopy bit on its back, I saw a wing at first, but as I got into the second iteration of this concept, the wing turned into more of a hump or mane-like structure. Guess I just wasn't feeling any wings today. I also warped the head into a mask. I don't know why, but I just saw a mask rather than a face. I think it's because there was this circle shape sort of behind the head shape, and I interpreted that circle to be the actual head, and the head shape as more of a mask over it. And then, yeah, everything else about this creature was just ungulate coated and somewhat giraffe shaped. Final scribble. I also had somewhat of a hard time with this one, although not as hard as the previous one, I don't think. Eventually, I saw a kind of horse on the left side, and then interpreted the curvy shape under it to be front legs. And then the right half was just kind of a swoopy, fish-like body. But very quickly, this turned into a weird kind of hippocampus. The big shape on top of the head could have been a mane, sure, but instead, I saw a big mass, kind of a dome or helmet-like structure. There's some kind of fish that has a big lumpy head, and I think I was thinking of that when I figured that out. I don't think it's a dome used for ramming, rather just kind of a big lump. Realistically, it'd probably be used for mating display. I imagine it being big and red. Anyway, I did also give it a mane and some kind of fur-like stuff on the front legs. Although if this is a sea-dwelling creature, it's probably not fur. Maybe it kind of looks like seaweed or seagrass instead. Oh, and I did give it sharp teeth, because this guy was giving me aggressive vibes and it just felt appropriate. But otherwise, I didn't really work the body of this design very much. It's just kind of a noodly, eel-like tail sort of thing. Okay, so now I have my 3 concepts. Time to decide which one to work into a full design. Although, let's be real, you saw the thumbnail, you know which one I'm going to pick. But I'll talk through my decision process anyway. So I gotta admit, after I finished fleshing out each concept, I definitely felt like that was the one I was going to do. The weasel guy was very cute, the giraffe guy was weird and kind of Pokemon-like with the mask, and the hippocampus was cool and not something I'd drawn before. But looking back after doing all 3, I quickly eliminated the weasel guy. As cute as it is, it's also pretty simplistic. I always could have added weird features that emphasize the 2-headed mutated animal concept, but the other 2 designs just interested me more. It then took me a while to decide between the second 2. I could see them both becoming cool creature designs, but in the end, I decided to go with the masked giraffe. I think it was just the more unique out of the 2. The hippocampus was cool, but also is a known mythical creature, but a masked giraffe with antlers and a weirdly large mane-like thing? Never heard of it. So let's do it. The last part of this challenge is just me taking this creature concept and attempting to flesh it out into an actual design. First order of business was absolutely to make the head smaller. I mentioned earlier that I felt like this design was kind of Pokemon-like, and part of that was the mask. Hello, Cubone? But I think the other part of that feeling was because of the giant head. And I don't mean it as any kind of criticism. I like Pokemon as much as the next person, but I was a little put off by the Pokemon-likeness of it, and I wanted to try and steer away from it. But I definitely leaned into this being a weird kind of giraffe, so I made that neck much longer. I really like the idea of this thing being some kind of weird cryptid giraffe that has huge antlers and wears a mask with a giant horn. Maybe it wanders around at night, and if you're not paying attention, you might just think it's a tree. Until it's too late. Does that mask hide predator teeth? Nobody's lived to tell the tale. So anyway, I definitely interpreted the hump on the back as a giant mane, although it definitely could be hiding a camel-like hump. Honestly, I could go either way. It would have to be very stiff and strong fur to be able to stand up that tall, so maybe there is a hump in there somewhere. I'll let you decide for yourself. Speaking of, I also leaned into the idea of this creature having a lot more fur than a giraffe. Maybe it actually lives in a colder climate where it needs all that extra fur for warmth. One thing I'm also not sure about is if the antlers are part of the mask or part of the creature. Assuming the mask isn't actually part of the creature, of course. But you'll see that I decided to make the back half of the horn the same texture as the antlers, implying it's all part of the same thing. Maybe it does also have a horn-like structure made out of antler material, and then some people decide to put a mask on it? Is it a battle mask? Is this a battle giraffe? I'm leaning towards battle giraffe, definitely. Or spooky giraffe that must not be seen without the mask. Its face hides horrors beyond your imagination. As far as the colors on this creature goes, I thought I was going to make it various shades of red and purple. At first I made the body orange and red and the mane reddish purple, but after looking back at it, I decided the purple color in the mane just didn't really go with the other colors. It was a little too distracting and I think detracted from the design rather than add to it. So I do end up coloring the mane with the same colors as the body, and I think it looks much more cohesive after that. Well, that's it. From scribble to final design. I'm pretty happy. I like this weird spooky giraffe. And I hope you enjoyed it too. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye.